I want to talk about why self-love, appreciation, and positivity is important for life to change. You see, for me personally, when I look back in growing up, I learned a lot of good mindsets around money. My family wasn't poor, we were also not rich, but there was never an argument about money and the lack thereof. I remember my grandfather always, even though he was just a welder, was rich. He had plenty of money. He grew up in Soviet-occupied Germany and he saved it all. And so that translated to my mother being quite responsible with her money, also saved a lot and gave it back to the next generation because she learned that. And I remember me myself in school when other kids would buy candy with their pocket money or food from school, I would never do that. I would always just eat what my mother would have prepared me and not spend any of it at all, being very frugal. And for that reason, always having plenty of money. But I also have to say that there were other things that I cared. My mother, she committed suicide herself, her sister did the same, my uncle, her brother, basically worked himself into the ground. So there were other types of confusions that I have to deal with, had to deal with. And so the point that I'm making is, in order for life to change, we want to be very specific about delineating, okay, what are the things that I have to confront, that I have to look into the eye and say, these are the things that I'm carrying that are not mine. My parents did not step up and clean that up during their lifetime. They failed to do that, and now I have to do that on their behalf. But never in an accusing way. And you can even tell that to your parents later on, once you have made significant steps towards it, but never in an accusing way. On the other hand, this is the other point that I want to be making. To nurture these seeds of positive that truly was there. For me, monetary mindsets, many other things. I have a friend who was physically disciplined by his father, but he also taught him music and scriptures and many other values. And so this is harder to do when your childhood really was horrible, when you were raped, when you were molested, when you were physically abused, or grew up with narcissistic parents, any kind of that. Sure, then the good will be very hard to find, but it is important that we pay attention to them because these are little seedlings, very fragile, tiny little seedlings that, unless you really protect them and nourish them, really make sure that they have an environment with constant care and focus and attention, just like you would care for a human child, for a human baby. When you first nurture positivity to look at these positive traits, habits and skills that you want to nurture within yourself, even if they are very small, because they will be in the beginning. A little seedling, you can just step on it and it will be dead. There's nothing really coming out of it yet. But in order for fruits to grow years later, you need to make sure that you nourish with positivity and with love these small skills and small positive things, no matter how small they are. Whether this is a skill, I'm just going to use my own example right now of writing. About 2.5 years ago, I started seriously journaling. Seriously meant at the beginning, in fact I have it here, hang on, some old kind of journal that I've been using as a mouse pad in the times where life was really horrendously chaotic and challenging. And just writing in with my hands all kind of calculations and numbers, and then a few notes, starting at the very back. I don't know why, and very unclear, not very clear at all, but also not being very consistent with that. But doing that for a few days and then letting go for a few months, eventually that turned into a proper journal, filling that with my daily thoughts, right, in handwriting. Especially last year, I did a lot of that. And then this year, I realized that I'm going to just write down my thoughts and my daily learnings about life and about how life works and about how I work myself, my own system, how I work, and my psyche and my emotions and all of that. Digitally, into my phone. And this is now, just now, really turning into sharing these learnings on video, also verbally, as a blog, as a podcast, and all of that will be coming in the next months and years. And so, if you were to see some young man or woman writing in this crappy journal, if you imagine that, try to step out of yourself and watch yourself and see what kind of very humble looking skills and practices you have. Is it empathy? Is it listening? Is it what it is? Whatever it is. They are things that can be nurtured and nourished and grow when you don't reject the small size of the skill or of the learning, but you rather treat it as a seedling that will grow. That's what I wanted to share. Thank you.